Haruto was a lonely and hopeless loser who had lived his life aimlessly for years. One day, he realized how depressing his life had become. An array of light suddenly appeared from his phone, transporting him into the heavenly dimension. The Archangel congratulated him on his reincarnation and granted him overpowered skills to make the most of his second life. However, all Haruto wanted to do was watch anime for the rest of his life. He pleaded with the Archangel to reincarnate him again, and as soon as those words left his mouth, he found himself reborn as a baby in another world. The maid was relieved that the baby boy was safely delivered, and his father noticed the royal insignia, confirming that the child was indeed theirs. They believed their son would possess great power, and mommy milkers assured them that she would birth a powerful child. The count brought the infinity orb to measure the baby's power, but to their surprise, the room was only filled with a magical aura generated by demon lords. Expecting him to be at least level 50, they were disappointed when the orb showed him at level 2, without even possessing an elemental power. The only magic he could use was a barrier. The king was astonished by the birth of such a powerless child and suspected the mommy milkers had been involved with Tyrone. Haruto realized he was in big trouble, and his parents decided to fake his death during childbirth. This situation was even worse than his previous life. The king ordered his army to abandon the child deep in the forest. Meanwhile, the angel realized that she had accidentally made him excessively overpowered, to the point where his true power couldn't be measured in their world. Their devices could only measure levels up to 100, but she had set his power to 1002 and forgotten to give him an element. Deep in the forest at night, Haruto attempted to use his barrier magic to escape his predicament. As he cast the spell, he imagined a cube forming in front of him, and realized that magic was easier than he had thought. With his imagination, he could manipulate the shape and form of objects, giving him limitless possibilities. He discovered that he could cast a spell on himself, allowing him to fly in the air without consuming any mana. However, a giant fox suddenly appeared and attacked him. Haruto used his barrier to protect himself, and tried casting hundreds of small cubes to defeat the beast, but none of them inflicted any damage. He then restored to something bigger and pulled up 7 trees from the ground, throwing them at the fox. However, the fox remained standing despite the barrage. Haruto, determined, decided to drag an entire hill towards the fox. The fox began speaking and pleaded him to stop. Ignoring the fox's pleas, Haruto continued until the fox screamed that it surrendered. Surprisingly, Haruto realized that it was the fox who had been speaking all along. After calming down, the fox expressed astonishment at Haruto's incredible power as a baby. Struggling to speak, Haruto created a barrier that allowed his thoughts to be translated into sound, enabling him to communicate normally. Curious, the fox asked him who he was. Disliking his real name, Reinhardt, Haruto introduced himself as Haruto instead. He explained how he had been abandoned because of his low level, although the fox couldn't comprehend this due to sensing a level of mana that exceeded human limits. It wondered if Haruto was the reincarnation of the Demon Lord. Haruto decided to conceal the fact that he had been an ugly, lonely loser in his previous life and claimed to be the Demon Lord. It all made sense to Flay, the fox, and she pleaded with Haruto to end her life. However, Haruto didn't want to harm her and asked her to stay by his side on their adventures. Flay swore as a flame fenrir to protect them throughout their journey. Haruto bid her farewell, calling her Flay, as she flew away. Flay tried to call him back, thanking him for giving her a name and saving her life. She explained that their pact was now formed, and she promised to devote her life to him. Haruto attempted to explain that he didn't want to form a contract with her, but Flay blushed, delighted with her new name. As he continued speaking, Haruto's hunger took over, and he pleaded to have some food. Flay transformed into a beautiful fox girl in an attempt to satisfy his hunger. Haruto realized that his new life was about to become amazing, but he wanted to keep it monetized, so he gave her a Catwoman outfit, which made her even more attractive. He was ready to have some milk, but Flay revealed that she needed a different kind of milk before she could produce her own. Haruto realized that dealing with her would be challenging and thought it would be a long journey. Suddenly, they heard a man approaching. Haruto activated his barrier magic so they could communicate telepathically. The man revealed that he was there for the baby. Flay refused to give him up, explaining that Haruto belonged only to her and her master. The man explained that the child belonged to one of his relatives, and he had come to bring him some milk. Haruto told Flay to take it, but Flay misunderstood, thinking it was an attack on her milkers since she couldn't produce milk. Haruto pleaded with her to take it because he was starving. The man reassured her that he didn't care about her milk-producing abilities. He only wanted to feed the child. Flay was moved by the man's story about his lost child and agreed to let him take care of Haruto, as long as she could continue watching over him. They reached an agreement, and the man was glad they could come to a deal. 9 years flew by, and Haruto grew up under the care of Margrave Gold. His plan was to leave as soon as he didn't need milkers anymore, but their kindness made him stay. However, his sister still disliked him, and it saddened him. Flay urged them to be nicer to each other, emphasizing that they needed otakus to keep watching the show. They spent time together as a family, and Haruto's sister began to warm up to Flay. Haruto wondered why he wasn't as fortunate in building a relationship with his sister. Charlotte asked Flay to play with her, and Haruto commanded Flay to drop everything and play with her, which Flay instantly agreed to. They spent the afternoon chasing each other. Haruto's mother apologized, explaining that Charlotte was still shy around him, but believed she would warm up to him as she grew older. However, Haruto realized that his sister might be avoiding him because she realized he was 30, and he was crushed by the thought that she would never love him. His mother suggested that he could create something special for Charlotte, but advised him to step out of his room and engage with the world instead of being a lonely loser. Emotionally affected, Haruto laid in bed, wanting to run away from his mean mommy milkers, but he didn't want Flay to leave Charlotte alone. He sought the opinion of his clone, which he had created after years of studying magic, but the clone couldn't make a single movement.
まだ喋れないし、動かないんだよな。
Urging Haruto to come outside. In the field, his dad announced that he would start teaching him swordsmanship to compensate for his low magical abilities. So, what did you think of Haruto's journey so far? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends so we can keep making them. For more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and remember to click on the notification bell. Also, be sure to check out our other videos as well. Thanks for watching!